So under handling errors, so we are going to work on a simple program because I'm pretty sure you might have encountered systems failure, your application crashing. So that might a little bit of be of worry, but with Python, it allows us to use the try except, the except block one. So with this except one is we're trying to catch in some errors here so that instead of your application crashing, then we just have a simple output instead of the entire system going down. So the basic architectural structure of a try block is you actually use the try, then a full column, then maybe you have a certain condition, and within the same block, so we have the exemption. So that's the what we are going to do. So but we are going to use the except one, then you pass in the exception that you want. So maybe like you don't want to a user to divide a number by 0, or maybe you don't want to maybe get in a value error, or actually other errors, so like the environment error, EOF error. So what this actually does is it allows us to maybe like catch different errors, so then we can maybe like print something to the user. So let's check on a quick example over here. So let's go in for maybe a user input. So let's say just the user input here. So I have a user input, then so let's take in an input from the user. So let's say maybe like salary. So what we want to do here is maybe like let's call this one savings instead. Then we want to assign a constant variable over here. So let's say first let's print it to the user. So print savings. So I'm just going to run this. Okay, cool. So because it's just user input, so once I run the program, then I'm going to like maybe input in some value like 600, then it's now printing all this. So let me just clear this and run it again to make it simple. So if I enter maybe a value like for numbers, it's going to print the same numbers. So what happens if now I enter some strings here as my salary? You see now that it's printing this one. So instead of using a casting over here, then we can allow we can use try catch, and then we can now use casting in our block. So we can say try, then maybe like for some maybe it's lay deposit. So for the deposits deposit amount, let's give it to maybe like 50,000. So let's say we now want this to be a deposit. So let's change this variable to something else. So deposit, and then now so for installments, so let's create a new variables. So let's say now that our value is the installment amount is always let's say deposit amount divided by actually the deposit. So though my variables are like not dependent by the deposit, so let's say let's just call it one total amount so that it doesn't look like awkward. So let's call it total amount. So total amount. So for you to do installments, you have to actually like get the total amount, then divide it by deposit. So the next thing you want to do here is we don't want our user to like, so let's just print first if the user enters correctly. So we're going to print the installments. So what if we don't want our user to enter maybe a value of maybe a zero value here? So I'm just changing in the output, or the what will be shown to the user, so that it doesn't look different. So we can use the exempt block. So then zero division, because you cannot actually like divide a number by 0. So then let's call deposit. So deposit cannot be 0. Then we can also try to catch a value error here. So except, so let's try to catch this value error, and then also let's tell the user to maybe print invalid input. Maybe try again. Great, so let's try running our program again. So let me I hope I normalize getting to clear my output. So let's say the user enters a 0 first. Well, it's throwing in an error, so unsupported. So it's throwing in the type error because we are trying to divide a string with an integer. So because we didn't want to specify the year, so we wanted to catch the error over here. So we are going to say we're going to convert this one. So we're going to cast this one into an integer. So let's now run our program again. So clear that, run without debugging. So we can now say enter 0. So it now throws in an exemption here that deposit cannot be 0. So if you now run a program, so of just random characters, like I don't know what that's. So it says invalid input. So try again. Now if we like run the program and now enter a certain value, so certain amount of deposit, so maybe like 20 shillings. So we now have the installment as 2,500. So that's at $25. Now let's maybe like try to tell the user what the error was. So you can use the f string here. Then we can now say deposit. Then so we are going to print what the user has said. So then place a comma here. So we can now again print the user using the f string formatting. I hope you still remember that. So we can tell the user deposit. So if you now run this, then I randomly enter in some just random characters. Now it tells me, it prints the value, then invalid input. So try again. So if now again maybe like enter a 0 value, so run, then enter 0. So it's going to return 0, and then deposit cannot be 0. So I think that's a little bit more presentable to a user. So that was just a quick one when handling errors. So there are really so many exemptions, so like the 0 division error, the type errors, and so many more. So you can still do some more research. So I'm going to link in some of the links where you can do more research in actually this part. So I'm going to link it in the next upcoming course, that is our data structures.